What's going on, football fans? Today is Friday, January 19th. I'm Kevin Carroll. He's Joe Soprano. It is snowing outside, but we're still here from tlsportsbetting.com. Everything you need to get ready for the weekend, the divisional weekend, the playoffs in full force. We've cut the field down from 14 down to 8 teams, 8 of the best teams going at it this weekend. Should be a fun weekend of football starting on Saturday, rolling into Sunday, Joe.
It is. It's going to be a good weekend. I think there's some good games out there. I think we're going to find a couple of teams that advance this round that maybe, are pretenders to the throne, so to speak. I won't mention any teams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But, we'll see what happens when they play the games. That's why they play the games. I've been known to be wrong once in a while. Not often, but once in a while.
I think we're going to start. So we have different looks at the same game. So why don't you start us off with that game? I believe you're thinking about Green Bay and San Francisco.
Yeah, I like the Packers plus 9.5 here. I'm a big believer in Jordan Love at this point. I think they'll be able to stay with the 49ers rather. I don't think they're going to be able to win this game outright, but I think 9.5 is a lot of points for this point in the playoffs. I think they'll keep it close. I think it's going to be maybe a touchdown game, maybe a field goal game, probably decide it late. I think the layoff, you're going to see some rustiness with the 49ers. I think the Packers are going to be able to take advantage of that early. I like the play here. I like the Packers keeping it close enough to get you to cash out.
Yeah, I think my look at this game kind of relates to yours. I don't think it's going to be a blowout for San Francisco. I've been pretty high on the Niners all year. But I'm looking at the total for this game. When I saw it when I was writing my column, which you could read in today's paper or on timesleader.com, the total is 50.5 points. That's the highest total of the weekend here. And I think this is a game that might be dictated by the defenses. I mean, the Niners defense is great. You hear all about the Niners defense. And they're getting healthy. I think Dre Greenlaw was in practice this week, so I think he will likely be back. He's a big anchor in the middle of that defense, him and Fred Warner. And obviously, everyone likes to look at that offense, but Green Bay's defense, you look at last week, and they gave up 32 points, but how many of those points came when the game was pretty much out of hand, out of reach? Early in that game, that defense was dominating the Cowboys. The Cowboys' offense has been pretty good all year. So I like Green Bay's defense, especially if they do have Jair Alexander back. He got hurt late last week, but I saw Matt LaFleur say that he was hopeful, which that could mean anything, but he's hopeful that Jair will play. He's a good piece in that defense, but they're a strong unit. I think 50.5 is a lot of points, and if this game were to go over, I don't think it's a shootout. I think if the game goes over, it would have to be the Niners running away with it, and I don't see that happening. I don't like the 9.5 points. It's a scary spread this late in the playoffs, like you mentioned. I would lean Packers on that if I were, absolutely adamant about taking a side. But I do like the under. I think this is a grinded out game. I think the Packers do a good job taking away some of San Francisco's weapons. At the end of the day, they probably have one too many for them to really just neutralize completely. And I do think the Niners win outright. But I think it stays beneath that 50.5 total. I think it might be closer to like a 24-20 game, something like that. I also believe that they are expecting a little bit of rain in San Francisco, or really Santa Clara, this week. So keep an eye on the weather too, because if it rains, that just means less points, fewer points.
Yeah, 50 is a lot of points. Think about it.
Again, it's the highest total. This was not the game I thought would have the highest projected total.
Yeah, 27-20, you still win the under bet on that. 50.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah, I don't see either team getting to I think the Niners would have to be like a 33-20 or something like that. And I don't think the Niners covered the 9.5. And I think that if you don't think that they're going to cover that big number, I think the under is just like a logical extension, a logical play there. All right, what do you got next?
Well, I'm going to go up to snowy Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
The Bills are just 2.5-point underdogs. I like the Bills big in this game. I think Kansas City has played all season long like a team that thinks that just because they go out in the field, they're going to win. I think there's been a lot of distractions around that team all season long. I think when you've got your top tight end, one of the best players in the league, down in Brazil, bouncing around South America. That's where Brazil is, right? South America?
I think so.
Yeah, bouncing around South America to see Linda Ronstadt play. I didn't even know she was still touring.
I didn't know that either.
But he's down there following this rock and roll singer around. I don't think this is a very focused team. I think that the Bills have been in must-win mode since about week 13. And I just think there's also something that comes with that when you have to win every week and you go into the playoffs and you've already had that playoff type atmosphere because you need to win every week. I think that gives the team a big advantage. I don't think the Chiefs can just turn it on. They beat the Dolphins last week handily. I think that was more of a weather thing than anything else. Neutral site or in Miami, that's a much different ballgame. I think the Bills, Josh Allen, handle Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs very easily here.
Huge moment for Josh Allen, trying to get over his postseason boogeyman, Pat Mahomes. Is Brazil in South America, or is it down near Hazleton?
Well, I think you get to Hazleton and you make a left, and then that gets you to South America.
And you just take that road down all the way to Hazleton?
Take it straight through Brazil.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna head to the Lions game. We're back in Detroit this week by virtue of the way the other game shook out. The Lions get another home game. They're home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lions are 6.5-point favorites. I love the Lions. I know I took them last week and they did not cover, but they won. That was a tough test. That was maybe the toughest test any team had to face last week. They passed it. They did what they had to do. They don't care about me the better. They care about them, the team. They won. Can't hold that against them. And I really think that that's going to set them up well here against Tampa Bay, who, by comparison, they drew the Eagles in absolute shambles. And if you really look at that game, for the middle of the majority, like the second and third quarters, it felt like the Buccaneers had a couple of chances to really put their foot down and then just end the game. And it took a while. It took that Jalen Hurts safety, unbelievable. I've never seen a play like that. I've never seen a worse safety, I don't think. Then that was kind of really what did it. But I didn't think the Bucs offense really impressed me. I think they're going to have to impress to keep up with the Lions because the Lions are such a talented offense and they do a lot of things. I saw this from ESPN's Mina Kimes today. The Buccaneers defense, when they're facing pass plays and they're pass plays involving motion, which the Lions love to do, they're 32nd in the league giving up yards on those pass plays. So it's a bad matchup for the Bucs defense. The Lions, again, we talk about all the weapons they have. They have so many talented receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown for sure, but also Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, and the running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, a perfect 1-2 complement. They both play off each other so well. And again, that we saw how loud that crowd was last week, how hyped they were for that game against the Rams. Now they're playing for a chance to get to the conference championship. You only got to imagine they're going to ramp it up even more. I think it's just a perfect storm of things happening for the Lions here. I think they roll. I think they make a statement rolling in. I think they roll ahead to the NFC championship game.
Here's something about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're only in the playoffs because they managed to beat the Carolina Panthers in the last week of the season.
What they score, like 14 points?
They scored 9 points. They couldn't score a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
And really, that game may go the other way except for a Carolina receiver reaching the ball out at the goal line and fumbling through the end zone, and what should have been a touchdown becomes a touchback. Tampa Bay goes on to win that game 9-0 and goes to the playoffs. That touchdown counts. That game may go the other way. Carolina was a bad football team this year.
Yeah, for sure.
People want to make a big deal about Tampa Bay dominating the Eagles. Then the Eagles lost to the Jets this year. Don't kid yourself. The Eagles were a really bad football team this year. They just had a lot of luck early in the season that gave them a big cushion so they could go 1-5 down the stretch and back into the playoffs. Tampa Bay, I agree with you. I don't even think this game is going to be a contest.
Yeah, and I hate to keep piling on Tampa Bay, but again, it wasn't just that they had to play the Panthers in that last week to get in. It was the whole season. You play in the NFC South where every team is around 500, except the Panthers were way below. But it was the worst division of football, one of the worst division showings we've seen in recent years. I feel like that division often does that. They're often a big bunch of like 8-8 teams. The AFC South has done that for a while too, though they're shaping up with a couple of teams. So yeah, I really just don't feel like the Bucs are ready. And as much as I'm enjoying watching Baker Mayfield kind of have his moment, cast off by a lot of different teams, and he's sort of gelling, but I think that you're relying on a lot of guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who at times, Godwin more than Evans, have kind of disappeared. I think their run is up. It was a good run for sure. They should be proud of where they got to, and I think that they're going to be, looking ahead to next year. But the Lions just are the team in the moment for me.
No, you talked me into that one now that you're managing it. I think I may be looking a little action on the Lions myself.
I don't know if I should be talking you into anything. I should be listening to you. You seem to be the hotter of the two. I think I've 1-2 or 2-3 on this video. 2-2 probably, since we do 2 picks a week.
Well, I know I was undefeated last week, and and I hit an interesting exotic. I don't know if they call them exotic bets, but a parlay involving a yardage for the 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, you can call it that.
In the Monday game, and all over 200. And the surprising Josh Allen was the one that came closest to not going over 200. But so you might want to look at some of those fun bets too while you're taking our sure winners.
Oh yeah, those fun bets are always they keep you in. Even if you're losing your main stuff, your side action could always keep you afloat. And especially as we get closer to the Super Bowl, which is like the holy grail of props and all sorts of fun things, we'll certainly have you covered on that when the time comes. But for now, enjoy divisional weekend. And again, tlsportsbetting.com for everything you need to get ready for this divisional weekend. You can check out my column that was in today's paper. You can catch this video online as well. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy your football and have a good weekend.